Have you ever sat there staring at your phone, waiting for a message that never came? You tell yourself she's just busy, that maybe she didn't see it. But deep down, you know the truth. You weren't on her mind, because when a woman truly cares, she never lets you feel ignored. If this has ever happened to you, then listen carefully, because today I'm going to expose 7 cold, brutal signs that a woman was never interested in you. And by the time we're done, you'll see the truth. No sugarcoating, no false hope. Just raw reality. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe and like this video because trust me, knowing this could save you from wasting years of your life, chasing someone who never saw your worth. And watch till the end because the final sign, that's the one that will hit you the hardest. Sign 1, you wait for a text that never comes. Let's be honest. How often have you waited for that one message while staring at your phone? The undeliverable communication. Keep telling yourself that she's simply busy. Perhaps it went unnoticed by her. Perhaps she will respond to my SMS message at a later time. Still, you were aware of the reality. She simply didn't care enough to respond. Let that sink in. No one will keep you waiting if they like you. Their emotions are never put to the test. They won't stand by while you wait for an answer, refreshing your conversation every 5 minutes. That being said, you are right here. It has been 3, 4, or maybe 5 days since you last sent her a text message. Nothing has changed. No response. Absence of response. Empty, depressing stillness. Turn the tables on us, though. Picture this. She wants to speak to you seriously. Picture this. She was longing for your presence. Would you have imagined she'd be that reserved? Absolute venom. Men who pique a woman's curiosity are not ignored. If they are genuinely interested in continuing the discussion, they won't let it end. The anticipation of seeing your name appear on their screen does not cause them to forget to reply. So why do you persist in justifying her behavior? Have you ever stayed up at night trying to decipher the meaning of her silence? How many times have you told yourself, perhaps she's simply different? Perhaps she isn't interested in texting. Perhaps she's experiencing something. And suddenly she appears. She's accessible over the internet. She's on the go. Her tales are being posted, parodying internet jokes, responding to the messages sent by other users, having fascinating, drawn-out discussions with everyone else but yourself. Then the knockout blow comes. Your message was seen by her. It was clear that she was uninterested in responding. That light bulb moment, it pierces the very core of one's being. Now you're embarrassed. Very bad. As if you were nothing more than a hopeless romantic, awaiting the attention of someone who gave you zero consideration. At that same second, you must become alert. Simply put, you will reclaim control of the situation the instant you cease being a doormat and stop wasting time waiting for her response. How much longer can you bear to be betrayed by someone who has clearly moved on? Sign 2, she replies late but is always online for others. At last, this one is more painful. An answer has been sent to you. But now it's been hours. It might be days. When does she finally answer? There's no moisture. Without feeling. This is hardly a discussion because it is so brief and lackluster. Hey, how's today treating you? Her, engaged, you? That concludes it. There was no follow-up. Very dull, make no attempt. Unfortunately, the unpleasant part begins now. You should look at her status on the internet. She was quite active throughout. There she is, sharing jokes with other males, commenting on stories, laughing at jokes and adding her own. But when it was your turn, no time for her. I have a question for you, bro. How long has it been since she truly prioritized you? At what point did she last text first? Can you remember the last time she seemed genuinely interested in having a conversation with you, rather than simply responding because she felt she had to? You should already know the answer if you need to consider it. Why? Because it's true that women who like you won't keep you waiting. You won't feel like a second-rate citizen around her. Your communications are not seen as an inconvenience by her. And let's be honest, you felt the warmth of someone's sincere interest in having a conversation with you. Remember who cares about you the most. Your close buddies, your loved ones. Some people's faces brighten up just seeing your name appear on their phone. How many days do they keep you waiting? Do their responses consist of terse one-word replies? Are you the only one they contact when it suits them? No. The reason being that they are concerned. And why do you insist on acting as though this girl still does? The truth will hurt, but she isn't too busy. To put it simply, she does not value you. Why? Because a woman who loves a man will make time for him. regardless of her workload. It doesn't matter whether she's tired. Regardless of the fact that she is incredibly busy, she'll figure out a way to reply. The subject will be continued by her. Chatting with you will be something she desires. However, what happens when she falls short? She will allow you to sit down, patiently awaiting, wondering, with the expectation. Also, listen up. No male is ever right to feel that way. Now you know what to do. Cut out the texting. Give up pursuing her. Put an end to making her feel secure by being there for her at all times. Like a lost dog. Because the reality will become apparent the second you distance yourself. The second you cease exerting so much effort. She might take the initiative and try harder, or she could. Alternatively, she vanishes entirely. Then you'll have a profound epiphany. You were never the issue. Nothing ever bothered her. Sign 3. She only talks to you when she needs something. I must inquire. Have you ever had the impression that a lady would recall you just in the event that she was in need of a favor? You get my point. You haven't heard from her in days, if not weeks, not even a "hey, how are you" to check in with. That's it. Subsequently, her name appears on your phone without warning. Arrhythmia sets in. At last, you think, I wonder whether she might like to speak to me after all. However, if you peruse the text, "Hey, I was wondering if you might lend me a hand," or "You owe me a favor, dude," then it hits you. She isn't missing you. She is unconcerned about your well-being. You should just give her what she needs. Boy, this one is a doozy. The experience is universal for everybody who has ever loved a woman deeply. You've had the fleeting moment of optimism when she finally makes contact, only to have it shattered when you remember that it was never about you. What you could accomplish for her was the main focus. You begin to question, what about times when she doesn't have a need? Does she ever consider me? Who was I all along, just someone she could use? How many times have I thought my sacrifices for her were meaningful, only to find out that she was only trying to take advantage of me? And what's worse, no change is made. It seems like you're still accepting. You must continue to assist her. Maybe she'll realize how much I care this time, you tell yourself. Perhaps this time she'll value my efforts. On the other hand, you are already aware of the reality, for the simple reason that once she gets her way, etc., missing in action. Once again, she disregards your communications. Getting back to the being too busy thing. Return to the state of complete non-existence, until naturally her demands are fulfilled once more. This process keeps happening. To tell you the truth, bro, a lady doesn't appreciate you if she just confides in you when she has a need. She doesn't regard you as an individual, but rather an asset. And the second you cease to serve her any purpose, she plans to find someone to take your place who is just as good as you were. So I must inquire, just how much longer are you going to put up with this? How much longer will you put up with her calling you, acting concerned, taking what she wants, and then leaving you feeling used? You should get out of bed. Eliminate her from your life. When you quit being her rock, her confidant, and her emotional ATM, you'll realize how little she cared. She will not pursue you. Your value won't dawn on her overnight. Using you will not make her feel guilty. She'll find someone else who's more than happy to step into your shoes. At that point, you will comprehend completely. She never belonged to you. At most, you were a convenience. Sign 4. She cancels plans but always has time for someone else. I guess we can all agree that this is something that every male has experienced. Plans are finally made with her. I can feel your enthusiasm. You may have gone to great lengths to arrange the ideal date, including choosing the ideal location, formulating the ideal response, and even visualizing the evening's events. Later on, in the nick of time, her plans are scrapped. Her arguments are based on tired old reasons. Apologies, but something came up. I'm simply extremely exhausted today. My life is absolutely jam-packed at the moment. And your occupation? You manage to grin despite the anguish. Telling her it's all right is your job. You keep saying, maybe next time, even though you know in your heart that there will be no such thing. However, the thing that truly hurts you is, a few short hours after that, you spot her out and about again. Who knows? Maybe she's sharing anecdotes from a party. Possibly she's having a blast with her pals, laughing and enjoying herself immensely. She could be out on a date, but not with you. And all of a sudden, it all makes sense. She had plenty of time. Not that she was very exhausted. Simply put, she preferred not to see you. Oh, and that very thing? The most savage insight is that, because you've been telling yourself, she's just going through something for weeks, months, or even years. It's simply tension for her. Giving her some room is all she needs. The reality has finally dawned on you. It was her time. She only chose not to share it with you. And what's worse, there have been prior instances. She has experience with this. Dates, hangouts, and even casual meets have all been ruined by her last-minute backout. On each occasion, though, you rationalized her behavior. Next time, I will do it differently, you promised yourself. However, this time is the last. An important thing I've learned about women is that they don't back out at the last minute if they like you, bro. She won't cancel on you or your plans because she's seeing other men. She won't make up reasons to be somewhere else while you're waiting for her. Why? Because a woman will go out of her way to show her interest. Your presence is much anticipated by her. Her time is highly valued. She will only postpone your appointment if she really must cancel without a good reason. Even then, she will try her best to see you. However, what happens when she falls short? As she keeps calling off her plans? When she's quick to make an explanation, yet nevertheless manages to make time for someone else every time? You are being shown her current position in her life. I will not prioritize you, you're a choice. You reclaim your power the second you come to terms with the fact that you are no longer a backup plan for someone else. So I must inquire, are you going to continue letting her cancel before you finally cancel her? The alternative is to keep waiting for a date that will never come. So get out of here now if you can. Sign 5. She laughs at other guys' jokes but barely smiles at yours. Have you ever seen how her face brightens up whenever another man says something? Regardless of how ridiculous it may be, she leans in close, her eyes glitter, and she laughs as if he were the most fascinating man in the room. However, when it's you, now she seems completely disinterested. No one laughs at your jokes. She isn't interested in your stories, almost completely oblivious to what you said. She keeps gazing down at her phone and about. It finally hits you at that moment. To her, you don't exist. Alright, let's not sugarcoat it. If a lady likes you, she will laugh at your jokes no matter how bad they are. She will listen to even the most ridiculous things you tell. The simple fact that you make her happy makes her laugh, even when you aren't aiming to make her laugh. What about when she's not keen? No amount of humor will get you there. She will find even the most interesting chats tedious. This is where things take a turn for the worst. There it is. It is something you're likely familiar with. She's pretending to be bored while she's with you. However, boom happens the second another man steps in. Something has sparked in her. She shifts her energies. She starts to act out more, talk more, and get more involved. As he speaks, she draws near. His every word elicits a belly chuckle from her. Forget about his comedic timing, however foolish his words may have been. However, why is that? For the simple reason that interest alters everything. You are already aware of this if you are being truthful with yourself. When was the last time you were in the company of a lady you disliked? Were you the kind to laugh along with her jokes while you were interested in her? How enthusiastic were you when conversing? I really doubt it. You can't put on an act if you aren't feeling it. Additionally, she isn't acting while she's with you. Yeah, that's right. Because she has no feelings for you. She isn't laughing at your jokes. Making an impression on you isn't important to her. Boosting your mood isn't her first priority. But what about other men? Those that she actually enjoys? She's putting her whole self out there for them, from her undivided attention to her boundless enthusiasm. And then is when the really suffering begins. She has the potential to be kind, interesting, and entertaining. And you know it deep within. She acts like way with other men, as you've observed. With you, though, it's chilly, far away, completely disengaged. You need to get out of your slumber at that point. So I must inquire, just how much longer must you endure this person's indifference? While you sit there and make jokes at their expense? How many more times will she show her affection for another man while ignoring you? We must now face reality. She isn't falling for you if she isn't laughing at you. You should just go if she isn't showing signs of falling for you. Sign 6. She doesn't care if you stop talking to her. Most painful of all is this one. When you reach this point, you'll know that she didn't value you. You put down the phone. No longer do you check in. You cease to exert yourself. What follows then? Completely null. She refrains from inquiring about the reason behind your emotional disconnection. She remains distant. No, she isn't missing you. Soon days become weeks. Soon weeks will become months. And still no sound. You fool yourself at first. Perhaps she is passively awaiting my SMS message. Perhaps she's experiencing something. Perhaps she is oblivious to the fact that I have distanced myself. In your heart, though, you know the reality. She took note. She appears indifferent. Because a woman would never allow you to just go from her life. If she loves you and regards you as someone she wants by her side, she will verify. Are you all right? She'll inquire. She'll be confused by your sudden withdrawal. However, what happens when she falls short? As she pretends you never were? When you realize how significant you were in her life, it all becomes clear. What about this insight? That's terrible. You recall each instance when you were the first to text. Countless times you made sure she was okay. Consider all the occasions you shown concern for her well-being. You understand now it was never a two-way street. You were only retained by her because of the effort you were making. However, when you finally stop, her support for you is non-existent. You won't be pursued by her. Even now, she has no idea where you disappeared to. Why? Because she never really cared about you. Now all you can do is sit there and stare at your phone, anticipating a message that will never arrive. So I must inquire. Have you reloaded your chat window in the vain hope that her name might appear? Have you ever considered sending her another text to check if she's still interested? When you go back on a discussion, how many times do you find yourself wondering what you said or did wrong? How can I find out? Far too many. Let me tell you something, my friend, you were completely innocent. It seems like you were taken in by someone who never had any genuine interest in you. A decision is now at your fingertips. While you wait for a message that will never come, you might wallow in your memories. Alternatively, you may just end it all. I mean, what happens when you do? When will you ever cease wanting her to care, hoping and waiting? Finally, that's when you're free. When the time comes to move on, your disappearance will leave her bewildered. Sign 7. She moves on like you never even existed. Compared to the others, this one stings more. Your undivided attention, affection, and time were all bestowed onto her. You made sure she was all right by staying up late messaging her. In order to be there for her, you scrapped your plans. She never even needed to ask you for anything since you took care of it. After that, she departed. As if you were never important, they continued on without you. The split is completely irrelevant.
The point is that she completely disregarded you.
Every detail is etched in your memory. Her infectious laughter, her anxious hair touches, and the way she clung to your hand as if she would never release it. Concerning her, though, like it never ever occurred, even as you wallow in your regret. She's out there beaming, living her life to the fullest, and pretending that you were only a passing phase. When it happens, you feel it. She was always more concerned with herself than you were. Do you ever find yourself glued to your phone, waiting for her to send you a message? Have you ever found yourself mentally reliving past discussions, trying to figure out how you might have handled the situation differently? When you're mired in the past, do you ever find it amusing to see her social media posts about new places she goes, people she meets, and images of herself? It's too much. Why? Because you secretly wanted her to understand how you felt. You were hoping she would have difficulty. Your absence would be felt by her. I wish she could take you back with her. But that was not the case for her. She has just proceeded to other things. Perhaps she has found a new partner. Maybe she's off having a good time going on a trip or partying. Maybe she's pretending like nothing ever occurred between you two. In the end, that's what kills you. This is because you are sitting here devastated, and she is totally all right. This is the reality, though, my friend. When men move on, women don't. Her focus is squarely on the future, whereas yours is on the past. Her reaction to the shift is one of elation, while yours is one of grief. It's not that she was uncaring. What she lacked was the intensity with which you felt. You have to face that terrible reality. Imagine if she loved you and appreciated you for who you were. Would she be able to let go of this so easily? Can she make it seem like you never happened? How can I find out? No. Now you're presented with an option. You may remain here and ponder her lack of longing for you, her contentment, and her decision to never turn around. You may also try focusing on yourself instead of her. The truth isn't that we need to know why she moved on so quickly. Why am I clinging on? Someone has already departed, so why are you keeping waiting for them? If someone doesn't bother to check, why do you feel the in with you? Why do you need to do so for them? Why are you causing yourself so much pain by clinging to a person who never really cared about you? Release it now. Not her style. In your honor. The minute you realize she was never destined for you, the moment you cease pursuing, the moment you cease yearning. At that point, recovery begins to take hold. Seriously, I think she'll come to terms with what she lost eventually. So when? By the end, it will be beside the point. Conclusion. You were already aware of the reality if these indications seemed familiar. You simply choose not to acknowledge it. But now you must decide whether to continue pursuing an unworthy person or to break free and take control of your life. Simply put, the correct person will have a better chance of finding you if you stop showering your affection on the incorrect person. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.